Scott Dixon ends his year on a high note with a win at Laguna Seca, a new layout for the Singapore Grand Prix next weekend, and Tyler Reddick punches his ticket into the next round of the playoffs with a win at Kansas. All that and more on the Flag to Flag podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 6 of the Flag to Flag podcast with yours truly, John, the motorsport enthusiast, and Chad Barker. How are you doing, good sir, on this lovely Tuesday afternoon?
It's good. It's good. Episode's coming out a bit later. I had my mom in town here in Ohio visiting, so we wanted to spend the day with her yesterday, so we pushed back the recording till today. But yeah, it's been good. How are things back home?
Good. Things are good over here. A lot of stuff to talk about. I'm leaving for Bristol in 2 days, so
you lucky dog.
I'm catching the ARCA, the trucks, the Xfinity, and the Cup. I'm going to be camping out all weekend, so if you listen to this here in Bristol, hit me up on any social channels, whether that is Flag to Flag podcast or the Motorsport Enthusiast. I'll be there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Excited to see Dale Jr. run. I've only watched him race twice when he was in the Cup Series, so it's going to be exciting to see him again in that car. Chad, you as you say, you look great.
I know. I'm going to keep my hand right here. Here we go. All right. I'm going to keep.
Five.
Yeah, high five. There you go. Like the lighting is. I have a window right behind my computer screen, and when the sun is just right, it causes it. That's why I wear a hat, because this is what it will look like if I do not wear a hat.
Where? I can't see your eyebrows.
I know. That's the part that annoys me. But
yeah, there we go.
That's the main reason I wear a hat all the time. But yeah, you're one lucky dog. It should be a good race. You got the ARCA East Championship. You got the first round. You got the first race of the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. First race for the second round of the playoffs for the Truck Series, and you've got the cutoff race for the Cup Series for the first round of them. So that sounds like it's going to be a fun weekend.
It's going to be a good weekend. I think it's going to be a lot of carnage. I'm predicting a lot of
Bristol
anger.
at night, cutoff race, there always is.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And I think we'll talk about this later, but I have a couple locks for this weekend. I want to try to go back-to-back for the pick, because I did pick Reddick to win. And your guy, the wall ace, hit the wall. So
hey, it was just a prediction, but we'll get into all that soon here. But yeah, IndyCar. We had the season finale for IndyCar at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. So we had a handful of racing happening there this weekend. We had the Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West Series. We had the Blue Marble Radical Cup North America Series. And they crowned their champion, as well as the Indy Next Series crowned their champion. And, of course, we had the IndyCar Series. So, let's do the rundown real quick. The Porsche Sprint Challenge USA West Series. They had 2 races this weekend. Their first race, third place, Charlie Hayes. Second place, Robert Todd. And first place, taking home the first race win, Kenton King. Sorry. Race 2, third place, Peter Ludwig. Second place. Here we go. I can see you looking at it. Here we go.
I don't even know how to pronounce this. I've been looking at it for the last couple of minutes. I don't even know how to start.
Okay, hold on. Will, first name's Will, last name, Wata Nawangkiri. Wata Nawangkiri. That's not horrible.
That's how I would say it. That's how I would say it.
There you go.
Okay.
And taking home the win in the Sports Sprint Challenge USA West second feature race was Robert Todd. The Blue Marble Radical Cup North America Series, like I said, had their championship race here with 3 races. The first race, Robert Sorka came home third. Second place, Wayne Williams. And winning the first race for the Blue Marble Radical Cup North America was John Field. In the second race, we had Danny Dyselsky taking home third place. Second place, Nick Persing and John Field going back-to-back for races 1 and 2. In third place, Wayne Williams comes home third. Second place, Louis Schreiber. And bring the broom out, sweeping the weekend for the Blue Marble Radical Cup North America Series, John Field takes home the win. They also crowned their champion, so congratulations to Nick Persing for being the 2023 Blue Marble Radical Cup North America champion. Indy Next Series had their final 2 races of the year at Laguna Seca as well. Third place in race 1, Daniel Frost. Second place, Christian Rasmussen. And your winner, Hunter McLaren. In the second race, Lewis Foster came home third. Hunter McLaren came home second. And with this win, Christian Rasmussen takes home the race 2 win, as well as the Indy Next Championship.
Nice.
So let's get into Formula One here, and there's only one way we can really describe what happened or not. Did I say Formula One?
I
think I did.
You just completely mixed up,
yeah.
The last race of the season for IndyCar. I mean, if you want to go that route, we can.
I want to go ahead and
just turned on by itself. I don't know why my fan just turned on by itself, but it just did. So
that's fair. And before we go any further, I want to say this. Meant to say this earlier, but sorry if I'm a little slow on getting in between tabs and stuff, because I usually have, some tabs I can just click on real quick to get my stuff. I think it was, I want to say Thursday of this past week, I went to go do the iRacing update, and
oh man, that was brutal on your computer, I bet.
Well, here's the thing, I was out of storage. And so I decided to delete a few things and to move some things into another hard drive and do all that stuff. So I thought I had copied everything into another hard drive. And so when I copied it, I deleted everything out of the original hard drive because I thought it was copied over to the other thing. I accidentally did a factory reset on my PC. And so everything was gone. Everything. iRacing, Trading Panes, Google Chrome, everything. My editing softwares. That happened, and I went to bed.
I don't blame you. I was giving up. I was like, that's it. My day's done. I'm going to bed.
It was like 10:30, and I had my roommate and his buddy over here, and we're trying to figure this out, and I finally threw my hands up and said, this is a tomorrow issue.
Oh, gosh. Okay,
so, that's the big thing I've been doing is getting all my stuff back on my computer. So, not the best way I want to spend this, but yeah. But yeah, let's get into IndyCar here. As I pull it up on my phone. There we go. I had to load in. So, IndyCar, we had a few things come out before the race day came along. Thursday, Marcus Armstrong signed a multi-year contract with Chip Ganassi Racing. And on Friday, David Malukas is to replace Felix Rosenqvist in the Arrow McLaren car next year.
Yep, that's the answer that we were looking for. Yeah, we were wondering what was going to happen with Rosenqvist, and that's the answer. Malukas, I think he could win a couple races next year with that McLaren. He's been strong. He's shown speed, and with that McLaren backing, with Pato O'Ward as his teammate, I think they can improve what McLaren does over there with IndyCar. I think it's a great move.
With Pato O'Ward's experience, it's definitely going to help out, and especially with being a team like Arrow McLaren that, yes, we didn't see that much out of them this year, but, they were a force to reckon with. The numbers probably don't look the same, but if you look the actual races, these guys have been up front, consistent top 5, consistent top 10 finishes, consistent podium finishes. So I feel like it is a good move for David Malukas. It's really going to help him out in his future. But the big question is now, where is Felix Rosenqvist going to end up in 2024? He might have to sit out a year, or you don't know, because we've got open-end seats popping up everywhere.
Right,
who did David Malukas race for this year?
David was with, I believe, I may be wrong. I thought he was with Dale Coyne Racing.
Dale Coyne. All right, so
HMD Motorsports.
Motorsport. Okay, so there's a seat open over there. There's a seat open at Andretti Autosport with Roman Grosjean leaving. So there's spots popping up everywhere. So it is going to be really interesting to see the way that this plays out. But yeah, we went green. Let's see right here. We went green with Felix Rosenqvist and Scott McLaughlin leading the field to the start for the 95 laps around Laguna Seca, which that's one thing that impresses me is how long these races are for IndyCar.
Yeah.
You know, 110 laps at Portland. How many laps did we? I think we had 80 laps at Nashville. You know, some of these lap counts have been insane, but the yellow flag we saw a lot of, and it was quick to come out at the start of the race in turn 2 after Scott McLaughlin, as well as a handful of other drivers, got into the gravel, spun around. So, yes, but Scott McLaughlin fought his way back. He finished second. All right, and I'm going to tell you right now, he did not make any friends on the way there.
No.
All right, he was, I mean, it's the last race of the season. Everyone's kind of just like, you know, what do I got to lose? So you kind of got that stuff. You know, we got a restart on lap 7 with Rosenquist in the lead. In the penultimate corner of that restart lap, Alex Palou took the lead, and it looks like it was going to be another Alex Palou show for a lot of the race. But later on lap 8, another caution came back out after Newgarden spun out all by himself, and I believe either turn 4 or turn 5 into the tire barrier. You know, for you and me, that wasn't fun to see, but, you know,
sad.
He started this year on such a high note, you know, decent finish at St. Petersburg, wins at Texas, gets the Indy 500, you know, which...
Yeah.
You ask... They ask IndyCar drivers all the time, you know, during May, if you could win, what would you rather win? The Indy 500 or the series championship? And everyone always says the Indy 500.
Well, yeah, because your name's going to go down in history. Your name's going to go down in history as winning one of the biggest races. It's the same thing with Le Mans, the same thing with the Daytona 500. You know, they may not remember who won, you know, the championship, but they are going to remember who won the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., good example of that. You know, he won the 500 this year. I mean, that's going to be a big. I mean, it's going to be like
his name's on that trophy.
Trevor Bayne, 2011. I remember that, watching that one live. I mean, it's some of those things when he never really amounted to anything really in the Cup Series, unfortunately. But still, it's one of those races where
on his 20th birthday for Wood Brothers Racing, 2011, he won. Like you won the Daytona. Like no one can take that away.
I couldn't even name who won the championship that year. I don't even know. Was it No,
I don't know.
Was it Keselowski?
I thought Keselowski was 2012. Or did that win? Let's do a little research here. While you're researching that, went back to green on lap 12 of Palou leading. Lap 13, Christian Lundgaard and Scott Dixon got a drive-through penalty. Elio Castroneves did not have a good last race, unfortunately. It was honestly, it was kind of painful to watch. To be, it was kind of painful to watch because it was like, I gotta plug up my phone here real quick, because you know you want him to go out on a high. All right, you know, we saw the same thing with Tony Stewart. We saw the same thing with Jimmy Johnson. We saw the same thing with Jeff Gordon. You know, you want him to come out on a high. You know, and I remember in Jimmy Johnson's last season when he didn't win the championship. You know, that as a Hendrick fan, that hurt me a lot because, you know, I wanted to see him, you know, just try for an 8th championship, you know, because ever since the playoff format came into effect, like, it's been hard to get a back-to-back championship.
Right. Speaking of championships, you mentioned his name. In 2011, Tony Stewart won his championship.
Really?
Yep, beat out Carl Edwards in a tiebreaker. If you remember, Carl Edwards has been... in the 19? Was he in the 19?
No, he was in the 99.
No.
He was in the 99.
Yeah, he was still in the 99. Yeah, but it was Tony Stewart driving the that red and black and silver number 14 machine. So, but yeah, no, you're right. You want to see these guys go out at least on a good note. And oftentimes, it just doesn't end up that way because it just seems to be the trend. I mean, obviously, let's take a look at what happened last night. Not sure if you're watching anything related to the football, but Aaron Rodgers just tore his Achilles out for the season. 4 snaps into the game. I mean, and this could be his last.
I did see that. Yeah,
this could be a career-ending injury. And this is the thing: is like, oh, it sucks because you know it's nearing the end of their career that you want to see them do well. Yeah. But there are things that come up, and for Aaron Rodgers, his Achilles tore. You saw with these other drivers, they have issues. If they have issues on the track, it's hard to go out on that note. So yeah, tough for them there.
Yeah.
Helio, but
yeah. Helio Castroneves, he spins. Then, as he's getting back on the track, he makes contact with Benjamin Peterson, which spins him back out. And then, while rejoining the track again, almost takes out the race leader of Alex Palou. And I don't really know the situation behind that, but it just, I hate saying this, but it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
or even what's your spotter doing? No, he might have had some dust in the area where he couldn't see, but you never know. Caution came back out on lap 29 after Marcus Ericsson and Rosenquist made contact in turn 2. Went back to green lap 37 with Palou still leading, but right before the front stretch, which is where a lot of these cautions were, another caution came back out after Benjamin Peterson, Helio Castroneves, and Callum Ilott all got together right before the front stretch. And it was like, and it something like that, you kind of see a lot at street courses, Nashville Fairgrounds, but Nashville Music City Grand Prix. The turn right before the start-finish straight, I love that corner because every year without fail, the past 3 years, there's been at least a 3-car pileup there.
Yep.
All right, and it's, I don't want to say it's, I don't want to say it's fun to watch, but it's exciting, because I remember standing up on the side of on the concourse of the Titans, on the ramps, and just watching these cars and watching Will Power find every little inch of that last corner, and it was super exciting to watch that. But with this not being a street course, I'm surprised we had that many incidents on that final corner. Yes, it's a bit of a sharper corner. It's a bit less than 90 degrees, but I'm just like, you guys got room to play around, all right?
They do, yeah.
But I just remembered this. That track just got repaved.
Bingo.
So there's not a lot of rubber on that track to begin with, which I think was a lot of the issues we saw here.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Let's see here. Caution quickly fan back out. Back to green on lap 42. Alex Palou still leads. Caution back out on lap 58. So we got some laps under our belt there. DeFrancesco and Malkus, David Malukas. Sorry, David Malukas make contact and go off track. While this is happening, Pato O'Ward, who was fighting for second, goes into the pits. All right, so that was a perfect time for him to go into the pits. Timed that perfectly. Well, I mean, that was more luck than anything. But it was, what was I going to say? It goes back to what I said earlier about the new surface. As soon as you get offline, it was like driving on a wet racetrack. As soon as you got offline and you hit the brakes, the back end just wanted to step out. It just, an insane amount of air was underneath it. So, I mean, it spun, hit them, both went off track. Sucks. Back green on lap 63 with Pato O'Ward leading. Like I said, he was in the pits during caution, effectively giving him a free pit stop and the lead of the race. So, very lucky right there. Let's see here. Where did I leave? Okay. Big moves being made before the start-finish line on the restart brings out another caution. All right, these guys are fighting for every inch of real estate on that last corner, and you're just like, come on, man. Like, I expected these wrecks to happen in the corkscrew.
Yeah.
Not in the not in the last corner.
Well, they think they can. I mean, if you have any inclination that you think you can make a move, they're going to take it. It's what we saw with Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman last week at Darlington. Any little bit, they're going to take it. And, you would want to say there's a lot more give than take in racing, but there's a lot more take than give. So, it's going to be like that. And that's what we saw this race. It's just a matter of racing, people putting themselves into situations where, is it a calculated risk? Yes. But margin for error very, very small? Yes. And so it's going to be it's just tough. It's tough that when you're on a track, just obviously got repaved, but also it's the last race of the season. People want to make moves. People want to carry momentum into the 2024 season. And when you don't have that momentum, you need to make those bold moves to get yourself into a position to put yourself in where you want to be going into next season, because obviously Dixon puts himself in a great spot going into 24 by obviously the result of the race, which we'll talk about in a minute. But, you know, it's where moves are going to be made. And oftentimes, just like in this race, they were very, very well just take instead of give. So it happens.
Yeah, and I feel like a part of it was it's the last race of the season. This is their last chance to get any points they can. All right, so I feel like that was a big thing. Yes, the championship was already wrapped up, but, you know, there's still a decent payout for second in the points, third in the points, fourth in the points. You know, everyone wants, you know, every position you go up is a slightly bigger payday. And so that's I feel like a big thing. We went back green with 28 laps to go with Pato O'Ward still leading. Yellow came back out after Marcus Ericsson and Marcus Armstrong got together. Take a guess where? Before the start, finish straight. Before the start, finish straight. So they got together. We went back green again with 22 to go. And with a fantastic start, Roman Grosjean took the lead going into turn 2. And I probably could hear my brother watching this right now, him being a big F1 fan, very happy about that happening. And yeah, you know, but unfortunately the caution came back out in turn 3 with 21 to go. After Colton Herta puts it into the tire barrier, it really just kind of looked like it was hard racing. All right, you know, they're fighting for a lot less real estate than what they're used to. That's kind of what it is. Caution back out in turn 3. After a pit stop cycle, we go back green with 17 laps to go, and Scott Dixon's the leader. And we stayed green for the last 17 laps. Scott Dixon hangs on to win the last race of the year at Laguna Seca. Scott McLaughlin, after, like I said, coming from the rear, fights back up to second, not making any friends along the way. And with his win last week and his third place here today, Alex Palou wins his second championship in 3 years and Chip Ganassi's 15th IndyCar championship.
Yeah, they're definitely they're the team to beat. Obviously, you have Penske. They're going to be a big name. But with Palou getting 2 and 3 years, you're starting to see a little bit of a dynasty starting to form. When you start winning multiple in a short amount of time, you start to become everybody. You know, you become the target, and I mean,
you get on people's radar.
Exactly. Same thing with Jimmy Johnson. Same thing with other sports. You know, think about the Chiefs winning multiple Super Bowls in multiple years. You know, it's just where we are. And that's where Alex Palou is. He's in a great spot. He's a young driver. We talked about this last week. Can he become one of those drivers that sit on Mount Rushmore of IndyCar along with A.J. Foyt and Mario Andretti? He possibly could. It's obviously way too early to speculate on it completely, but he's putting himself in a great seat early on in his career to do just that. So, I mean, right now, I think looking ahead, it obviously he's the one to look out for, but watch out for Scott Dixon. You know, he's been around a while. If he comes back next year, which I believe he will, look for him to try to mix it up because he's got it. He's got it with that teams and finishing and winning. You know, this race, it just proves that he has what it takes to do this. Now, he needed a win a few races ago to be able to compete with Palou for the championship. Yeah. But still, I mean, what a run for both Scotts and for Alex Palou getting his second championship in 3 years. Pretty impressive.
At Portland, between the Scott Dixon team and the Alex Palou team, there was only one person with those two Chip Ganassi teams that wasn't stressed out about this championship. And do you know who that was? Chip Ganassi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he's going to win no matter what.
He was going to win the championship no matter what. And it also shows, like you're saying, this is the powerhouse, right? You know, IndyCar and NASCAR, it's not like Formula One where you have one team that is completely dominant for a bunch of years. You know, Ferrari had it in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Then we had McLaren in about kind of the mid 2000s a little bit. Then we had Red Bull in the 2010s, and now we had Red Bull early 2010s. Then we had Mercedes mid to late 2010s with that, and now we're seeing Red Bull. Okay, it's always one team that it just feels like there's always one team that's in Formula One. There's one team that's here, and everyone else is here. All right, everyone else is here.
Yep.
With IndyCar and NASCAR, this is another reason I absolutely love these two, is because yes, there is one year, every year there is one team that is kind of the house to beat, the team to beat. But at the same time, everyone else is right here.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
everyone else is a little, not as far.
Close.
And it's that's what I think. And but yeah, like you said, I feel like that's Chip Ganassi right now in NASCAR. It's pretty close right now. It could be
Hendrick, JGR. I mean,
Hendrick or JGR, yeah. Joey Logano is carrying Penske on his shoulders.
We're going to talk
well
about that later, but he's on the cusp of possibly not making it. So
that is true, and same with Kevin Harvick. He's having to do it too. But yeah, back to IndyCar. What? Let's look at the season as a whole. What did you think of the season as a whole? I thought it was exciting. I'm not gonna lie, little boring early on. After the first race, we have two cars go airborne before even the halfway point.
Yeah.
Gets a little, it's a big introduction, but after that it was kind of just, I don't want to say mellow, but it was just kind of chill for a little bit. And then, after the Indy 500, it just like everything ramped up because, after the Indy 500 is when you really start looking at points. And
exactly.
It came down to almost the last race of the year, like we said last year. First time in I think 17 years the race hasn't been decided. The race hasn't been decided before the final race. So that was very exciting to watch.
Yep, exactly. I thought it was a good season. Obviously, the first race of the season had a couple cars go airborne, so everybody was like, oh, what's going to go on this season? Is that going to be the norm? We had some, calm, basically, races between then and the Indy 500. But I think once the Indy 500 happened, it started to pick up with intensity. You saw multiple big wrecks. You saw the tire fly over the fence. I mean, you saw it just start to get chippy a little bit, I would say, and I think it was really entertaining. I think it was a good thing for the sport, and it's great to see that IndyCar is getting to a state where it's getting a little bit more awareness. I don't think it's going to get, obviously, the coverage as, a NASCAR or obviously a Formula One does, but it's getting up there a little bit, and so I think the season was a big win for IndyCar. Obviously, like you said, not being decided until really the last two races to go, because Pelot technically clinched with two to go, technically. But unless he had like a terrible day, but I think he did clinch. Yeah. So I mean, it was a great season. I think next season is going to be even better when you have a lot of drivers mixing it around, seeing where they're going to be, and you never know. I mean, you have a new track in Nashville that's going to be the last race of the season. That's going to create some excitement around it as of itself. So that's going to be a big thing to happen, and you never know. I mean, you may see a breakthrough driver come through within a team that maybe new. Look at David Malukas. You never know what he's going to be able to do in a McLaren, and you don't know what the future holds for Grosjean. I mean, it's going to be a really unique season going into 24, I believe.
It really is, and I'm excited for it, especially for the season championship. Yes, it's in Nashville. Yes, I'm from Nashville. But, I mean, it's the championship race, and it's a brand new racetrack.
That's where I think it's going to be. Obviously, there's going to be some similarities between the two tracks, which is really just going to be the bridge.
The bridge, yeah, that's it.
Really it. I mean, there's nothing else is going to be new about, or nothing else is going to be like the old layout, because they're having a very long straight, which I bet they're going to change. This is one thing we could talk about, is that long straight from the turn, basically going over Korean vets. I mean, that straight is probably the longest straight in IndyCar. I mean, it is massive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're topping out at 180, and they're adding 40% more track. I mean, if you do the math there, 40% of 180, you're looking at another 40 miles an hour. Could they be topping out 220 going over that bridge?
Yeah.
What's the safety concerns there? If they add a bus stop, before they go over the bridge. If they don't, I mean, that bridge is going to be insane to watch. But I think with Nashville being the final race, that's going to produce hype in and of itself, because the Grand Prix has produced 3 amazingly great crowds over the last years in Nashville.
Oh, absolutely.
And having it here, it's going to do good things for IndyCar. So,
without a doubt, and I'm very excited. And that was kind of the next thing I want to talk about was next year. We haven't heard much about next year's season, except for there's 2 big things that's come out about next season, and it's one, been of course Nashville changing to the championship race, as well as the circuit layout changing.
Yep.
But there's rumors. These are just rumors. Nothing is confirmed. But these are rumors that IndyCar might be getting an all-star race next year.
I think that is all. Has that not been officially confirmed yet?
I don't know. I've only heard rumors.
I thought they confirmed it.
Yeah. But besides that, we're not really hearing much of anything, which leads me to believe one of 2 things. It's going to be a very similar schedule.
Yep.
Or they're waiting for everything to die down a bit and then bam, hit us with some really cool stuff. So you never really know, but it is very exciting to see what next year's IndyCar schedule is going to look like.
It will. And just to clarify what you said before, IndyCar will have a all-star race at the Thermal Club in 2024. It's going to be the Thermal Club in Southern California, with $1 million guaranteed to the winner of the made-for-TV. They're going to call this a made-for-TV exhibition. It'll be held March 24th, aired on NBC, and there's going to be practice and qualifying the previous 2 days. Apparently, a lot of people liked it. A lot of people want to see it. And
is there anything that gets you into the race? Like, I know in NASCAR, you have to, I think, have won a race to be able to start in the playoff race and then get voted in and then race your way through the through the opens. So does it say anything about or are we going to have, just a big race,
So it doesn't say anything right now based on this one article that I'm reading.
This is also confirmed. Just came out.
Yeah, I mean, it came out 2 days ago. So it looks like there will be no points on the line. The format will consist of 2 heat races on the 17-turn 3-mile circuit, in which the top 6 finishers will advance into the main event.
So that's 12 starting the main.
So it's basically like a short track style Grand Prix.
So is there going to be a B main?
So it's going to be...
Or like a consolation, or like...
I don't know. I mean,
names.
this is... Yeah, so it's going to be... Obviously still very preliminary here. But yes, it's 2 heat races and then a main event.
Okay.
The top 6 finishers will advance to the main event, which makes me think it's either going to be, depending on obviously how many cars start the race, a 12 or 14 field heat sessions, essentially. The top 6 obviously will then go, which is going to be a 12-car all-star race, which is going to be very interesting to watch.
That will be interesting. I'm very excited about that. And the only thing that worries me is, something you said in there, a made-for-TV event.
That's what they called it. Yep.
And that kind of scares me a little bit, because what if we run into something like we have kind of going on right now with the SRX series, where when the race gets boring, they just throw a caution, instead of, really kind of letting them race. And so I hope they still keep the spirit of the racing aspect there, and not make it
I think they will.
A show, if you will.
Because NASCAR
and I think they will too.
NASCAR had the heats. NASCAR had the 2 heats before the main All-Star race. I think it's going to be very similar.
That is true.
They didn't call any gimme cautions, I don't believe, from when we watched it. So, I think that's the big thing going into 2024 is Nashville confirmed. Obviously, championship, that's been confirmed for a while. New track layout, been confirmed for a while. And then the All-Star race coming out a few days ago. this is going to boost IndyCar's reviews just a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a lot because people still don't understand IndyCar. I mean, I get all the time, what's the difference between an IndyCar and a Formula One car? A lot, but there's a lot of things that are similar. Well, if you from a blind eye, they look similar.
That is true. I will
blind
give you that.
eye, if you're not into racing, you're not going to have any clue the difference between the two. Obviously, the manufacturer's a little bit different. The body styles are different. The aerodynamic capabilities are different. The engines, I mean, everything about it's different. But from a naked eye, they're very similar cars. Open wheel, got the halos, got the windscreens, obviously, which is different from Formula One. But it
is within itself very similar, in some aspects. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like. It does look similar, but then once you get into it, it's like comparing apples to oranges. All right,
exactly.
Yeah, they're both fruits, but they're very different.
Exactly.
It's both racing, but it's very different. But speaking about Formula One, yeah. Well, let's get into what little we have because
off week.
It is an off week, but usually around this time of year, we're seeing driver moves, driver transfers, what's going to happen next year. We're hearing talks about, we're not seeing that this year. It's been very quiet. And the only big things I have is, the new layout for Singapore, which they kind of quietly released that. It wasn't a big deal. Excuse me. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't really even notice it until today. I was sitting in class, I had a short break, looking for my phone, and they're just like, what to expect with Singapore's new layout. I was thinking, new layout? And I did a bit of research, and I eventually found out, oh shoot, Singapore's got a new layout. Another big topic is, after this race, we have Japan. And if Max Verstappen, at the end of the Japanese Grand Prix, if he has a 180-point lead, he wins the championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of when, I guess.
It is, and that's what kind of
clinch it. Yeah, it does. It sucks. He's going to clinch it no matter what, so it's really a battle for second place. But, yeah, if he gets above that point total, he's locked it in. It'd be curious to see how the rest of the field kind of goes about it, because really it won't matter. I mean, obviously it'll matter how he finishes, increasing the records that he's already broken. But really it's going to be a matter of what's everybody else going to do. Max is the champion, so now it's just the best of the rest, including Sergio Perez. Got to think about that. He is part of the rest, I think, at this point, because Max is just so far up in the clouds. Nobody's going to be able to compete with him unless he has, a disastrous second third of a season. I mean, it'd be terrible, which it won't happen. But yeah,
yeah. It is kind of a big what if there, and with Sergio Perez. Sorry, I became Mike Tyson there for a second. But with Sergio Perez, there we go. He's got to be getting a little bit frustrated, with this. I feel like it was kind of the same situation with Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, But at the same time, I don't want to complain about how, I don't want to say boring of a season it was. It's had its highlights, but I don't want to complain about how boring it was, because we were blessed a few years ago with a fantastic championship battle. It went down to literally the last lap. And, and with Formula One, it was so great to have that, and I guess it is okay that we have a few, I don't want to necessarily say down years, but you never know. This might just be, a little hump, or this for Red Bull in their dominance, or this could be the start of a mountain for their dominance. You never really know. But if we, another thing I want to look at is, like you said, I feel like it's still going to be a great battle for the rest of the points, because, like I said, yes, second place doesn't pay as well as first place, but pays a lot better than third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and so on. So, there's
matters.
still that, there's still, those points on the line. It's recognition. You still have the Constructors' Championship, which could possibly go on for the next few races. So, It is interesting to see what happens here. And but besides that, we haven't really heard any news on next year's schedule. We haven't heard any news on the grid for next year besides what we already have heard. We no new news, if you will. So it's
pretty status quo.
It is. But I do want to talk to you. Predictions for Singapore.
Yep. Go ahead. You go first.
I think Max is going to pull it off. It off.
Okay.
Ooh. I'm trying to think. I'm going to say Perez second. I'm going to go the safe route and say Perez in second. So Red Bull 1, 2, and then for third...
Nothing. I just verbally said what I think we're gonna say. You don't know what I verbally or like.
I kind of want to go with
third place, last spot on the podium, the best of the rest. Who is
Fernando Alonso? I'm gonna kind of
Aston Martin. Okay.
Maybe, they've it's every time this season since we've had a little bit of a break, we've seen, a new team kind of pop up. We saw it with Williams, and who knows? Williams might have even popped up a little bit more. Saw it a little bit with Ferrari. We saw it a lot with McLaren. Aston Martin might be playing a little bit of catch up. But yeah, I really want to see Fernando Alonso get that third place in the championship. Possibly second if things go his way, but I do want to see him get that third place in the championship and hopefully use that as momentum into the next season. Sure. But yeah, so who you got?
So you said Red Bull with Verstappen, Red Bull, obviously Perez, and Aston Martin with Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
That's third. Okay, this is gonna be. I'm going out on a very big limb here.
Okay.
This is where I think Red Bull starts to get a little bit ahead of themselves.
Oh?
I think Max Verstappen will finish in the podium.
Okay.
But he will not win.
Okay.
Unless he starts in second place. So if he gets beat out, I think he will win. But if he finishes
lower than second,
if he qualifies second, he will win.
So first and second, he's got a good chance of winning, and then
I think whoever qualifies second is going to win the race. I want to put that
really.
there. I'm going to put that there. My inclination and slight bias is going to get in the way here because why not? Let's have fun with it now. I think Ferrari...
I mean, we're already doing it with NASCAR. Let's go ahead and do it with Formula 1, too.
Hey, I was right last week, so give me a break. I picked Reddick. So I think that it's going to be either Perez winning the race or a Ferrari winning the race. I think it's going... If I had to pick, I'm going to go Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez.
All right, so... Let's stop talking about what you want to happen and what you think is actually going to happen. Because here's the thing. No, if we're talking like that, all right, Logan Sargent wins the frickin' race, all right?
So now you're comparing a Williams to a Ferrari. You're comparing Logan Sargent to Charles Leclerc. I know, I got you. Okay, this is...
All right,
okay.
but...
All bias aside, whoever starts in first or second is more than likely going to win the race.
Yeah.
That's the trend here at Singapore. I think... Second place has had an advantage. Looking at last year's results, Leclerc started first, Perez started second. They flip-flopped that for the podium spots. So I think second place has an interesting, unique advantage here. Now, Max, with the speed he's going to have, he's going to be hard to beat. I will admit that. I like Ferrari's momentum and being able to battle with the Verstappen machine up there last week, especially with Perez as well. I think it's going to be a battle between Ferrari and Red Bull. I want to say Ferrari wins. I think there will be a Ferrari on the podium. Where they're going to be, I don't know. But I think whoever finishes, my prediction, whoever qualifies second is winning the race. That is my only spot. That's my only thing I'm going to say. Okay. So that's my unbiased thoughts.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Singapore. Yeah, I mean, we spent about 25 minutes on IndyCar, and now we've spent about 15 minutes on Formula One. But I mean, it was just kind of quiet this week, nothing too big. A lot of people enjoying the bit of the break. Yeah, it was an off week for them.
Exactly.
So let's get to our local racing report.
Let's do it. Where are we going this week?
We are in Ona, West Virginia at Ona Speedway. We had the Ohio Wheelman Super Stock Series. We had the late models, modifieds, U-Cars, the Legends Pro Division, the Legends Semi-Pro Division, and the Crazy Compact. So here's your top three in all of those. Some of the names they have, I saw your face, some of the names they have for these divisions are insane. And
the Crazy Compacts. I'm very curious to see what one of those cars looks like.
I have a feeling it's a front-wheel drive style car like the U-Cars. No, and that's one thing I've noticed about tracks all over the country is that the front-wheel drive division has different names all the way around the country. All right, even in the state, where I'm from in Tennessee, the front-wheel drive division is called Front Runners at National Fairground Speedway. And then they've got three different front-wheel drive divisions at Highland Rim, being Ridge Runners, Road Runners, and Road Warriors. All right, and it's 4 different divisions, and then just call it front-wheel drive. All right,
front-wheel drive
is so easy. All right,
the forwards, FWDs.
Yes. All right, so for the Ohio Wheelman Superstock Series, 3rd place, Dennis Woods. 2nd place, Billy Roberts. And 1st place, Jeff Kuykendall. I put that in Google before, so I knew how to say it.
Ah, there it goes. Look at that. Nice.
For the late models, we had Jacob Bell coming home 3rd, Greg Carby coming home 2nd, and Jake Keaton coming home with the win. In the modifieds, we had Wes Smith coming home 3rd, 2nd, Andy Booten, and 1st place, Jeremy Cooper. For the U-Cars race, we had Nick Fowler coming home in 3rd, Tim Cassidy coming home 2nd, and Chris Deskins coming home 1st. In the Legends Pro Division race, we had Dale Garrett coming home 3rd, Jake Keaton coming home 2nd, and Jason Garrett coming home 1st. I wonder if there's any relation there. Speaking of relation, we have a similar thing happen here in the Legend Car Semi-Pro Division. Jay Dulap comes home 3rd. 2nd place is Rob Dulap, so once again, might be some brothers there. And in the 1st place division, we have Randall Klein. In the Crazy Compacts, we had 3rd place, Evan Proctor coming home 3rd. 2nd place, Stacy Watson. And in 1st place, Evan Strickland. If you would like your local tracks shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10@gmail.com or shoot us a DM or give us a shout on any one of our social media platforms, which listen out for the end of the episode for those. So yeah, but let's get on to NASCAR. So we had a rather interesting week. We had the ARCA race on Friday, which was interesting. Championship contenders got thrown around. Only 2 cars finished on the lead lap, and kind of segueing into it, Tony Bettinger getting her first podium of her career. So congratulations to her. She got 3rd place. 2nd place, Carson Cavapol.
Quapple. It's Quapple.
Quapple? I think it is. You're right. Carson Quapple coming home 2nd, my bad, and he actually will be starting in the Bristol truck race this upcoming weekend.
Oh, there we go. Get to watch him. Absolutely.
Yeah. And in 1st place with the win was Connor Mozak. So, yeah, very interesting for that. We have the ARCA East Series Championships this upcoming weekend at Bristol. Sorry, I was drawing a blank there. And like you said, I meant to say this earlier, like you said, you're going to be in Bristol this weekend. I'm going to be in Watkins Glen.
Oh, there you go. What's going on at Watkins Glen?
Well, as we've seen time and time again walk through that door, Formula V driver Jack Herberger is racing at Watkins Glen in the Challenge Cup Formula V Series Championship. And, I'm going to go out, kind of help him. That's why, I have a lot of my race car stuff here that I showed you, John, earlier. And, just super excited about that to just get back out to a racetrack. It's
100%.
It's been a few months for me, and I'm super excited just to get back out to a racetrack. But staying with NASCAR in the Truck Series for their last race in the in the round of 10, we had Nicholas Sanchez winning stage 1, Carson Hocevar winning stage 2, but Christian Eckes taking home the win. And
oh my goodness,
with what a finish!
Oh my God, one of the best finishes of the year. I mean, that was
without a doubt,
incredible,
without a doubt.
Beating out not Corey Haim, Zane Smith.
Zane Smith, yes, I was drawing a blank too.
What a move by Eckes to go to Highline. I mean, it was just...
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a ballsy move there. But for the two drivers eliminated, a Truck Series icon in Matt Crafton, him having to go to a backup car for this race. So,
yeah. And
unfortunately for us, Matt DiBenedetto and the Rackley War Machine. Hey, it's their first year in the playoffs. That's a win within itself. I feel like they had a win last year at the playoff race in Talladega, and we were able to make the playoffs this year. So yeah, in my opinion, it's a good season for Willie Allen and Curtis Sutton over at Rackley War. I feel like they use this and build off of it, and I'm excited to see not just who drives for them next year, but how they're going to do. We had the last race before the playoffs for the Xfinity Series, and it was the John Hunter Nemechek show.
Just took it away. Just blew the doors off everybody else.
Stage 1, Stage 2, and the win, John Hunter Nemechek. After on Wednesday signing the deal with Legacy Motor Club to drive for them in 2024, like we predicted earlier. And,
Makes total sense.
And he proved that Legacy Motor Club made the right choice. All right.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah. So fantastic to see that. And good for him as well. I'm being with JGR in the Xfinity Series and Legacy Motor Club switching over to Toyota as a manufacturer next year. So that'll be interesting. Going into Cup, like I just said, on Wednesday, John Hunter Nemechek signed the papers to become the Legacy Motor Club driver next year. Not sure which car yet. Still got some contracts moving around there a little bit. But the race started with Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson leading us to the green flag for 267 laps around Kansas. And unfortunately, right after that, the regular season champion, Martin Truex Jr., gets put into a bit of a bad spot, essentially just wrecking out on lap 4. And
exactly.
I feel bad for the guy. He had such a drought of a season last year, not getting into the playoffs, and it's interesting,
news.
Breaking
NASCAR news.
This is when did this come out?
7 minutes ago.
No way.
NASCAR
All right.
And Bob Pockrass. Noah Gragson has been reinstated by NASCAR and is eligible to return to all NASCAR activity. So, on the podcast at 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesday, September the 12th, Gragson is officially back after officially releasing himself from Legacy Motor Club. So, now
I said it in the first episode. I'm going to say it again right now. 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Noah Gragson. He's going to do it.
I'm making you know what car he's going to fill? The 31 car of Justin Haley at Colleague. I bet you there right there.
That is a good bet. That is a good bet.
It makes a lot of sense. Why not? I mean, also, let's really quick talk about Justin Haley. Did you see the paint scheme this week for Bristol?
I don't think I did. Let me look. Let me look that up real quick.
So if you haven't already seen, I'm gonna show right here. I have it right here. Ready?
Oh, okay. Let me see. Yo! as a Mountain Dew fan, that is beautiful.
Oh, it's
I know
it's gorgeous.
And that's coming from someone who almost never puts green on anything I race.
There's a lot of green. There's a lot of green on that.
There's a lot of green there.
Yep. So
all right, so I'm going to say this.
Know.
As much as I love the car, if that car doesn't do well, it proves my point on my superstition that green is bad luck in racing. All right?
Well, if that's true, then William Byron's going to have a terrible weekend because he's racing a green car.
What's he? Is he? It's not the Raptor car. That's yellow.
No, it's a one-off scheme. It's a what's it called? I forgot a sponsor.
You know what I bet you're really excited for? Is possibly getting these paint schemes on diecast at Opry Mills at Lionel Racing because
oh my gosh,
you were able to get it.
I was able to go in. I met the dude Brett. Shout out to Brett. He's the manager. Talk with him. He's on iRacing. So
sweet.
If you're in Nashville, he's your hookup. He'll order things for you. If you go and call him, say, hey, I want this ordered. They have a lot of things that are being literally people are coming in wanting to buy in bulk, and they're limiting the amount of things you can buy on a specific purchase.
What did you get?
I got a Dale Earnhardt Jr. 164 Bass Pro Shopped Xfinity car.
Is it the little or the big one?
The little one.
Okay. Thought like the Hot Wheels one.
Yes, but if we're talking about William Byron's scheme, it is a relay payments, black and silver and green. Would you consider that green or black?
Mainly black. You know, my theory goes is if you have an abundance of green on there, you know, like you know, when I raced in Florida and we had to, in order to race, you had to go through tech inspection, and the tech sticker was you know kind of had a design on it that had, you know, palm trees which had green leaves on it, but it was only a little bit of green, you know, so it didn't worry me, all right. But you know, cars with a lot of green tend to scare me. Danica Patrick is a prime example of this. I'm just gonna say it, I will say this: was
that the car or was that the driver? Like,
even balance. But speaking of women who drive green cars, shout out to my friend back home, Taylor Coram, who she drives the green number 22 Legend Car Semi-Pro. She's raced on a national scale. She goes to a bunch of events. She's been kicking some ass this year. You know, she's been doing great. She's doing great nationally. So, shout out to my friend Taylor. I miss all y'all back home. But yeah, let's get back on topic here. Martin Truex Jr., after what happened today, drops to 7 points below the cut line.
That's not good because Bristol's not a good track for Martin Truex Jr.
It's not.
I was not expecting to see Martin Truex Jr. in a spot where he was, because this is what happened. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the race, but I watched the beginning part of it where he hit the wall, and it something was wrong from the start. He started up front and dropped. Started dropping to the back. There was something happening on that car that was not right. When he smacked the wall, he broke the right front toe link. Done. Just done for the day. And that's not great, because looking at the back four of this playoff, Michael McDowell is going to have a perfect day in Bristol to win and move on. So Ricky Stenhouse, he's going to have a very good day as well. Bubba Wallace, not a good track for Bubba as well. That's going to be a big thing. But Truex, he's 7 back. I would say for Stenhouse and McDowell, they are both in a must-win situation. You have to win. I even say Bubba Wallace is in a must-win, because if you're looking at these guys up here, the Hendrick guys are going to be strong. If he doesn't have the luck, then yes. Yeah, the Hendrick guys are going to be strong. The one driver that I think could skew this is Joey Logano, because Joey Logano has not been good at Bristol. And so Bristol asphalt. Let me rephrase. Bristol That's asphalt. Joey Logano was my first driver out. And with looking at this, I think you're going to have a lot of drivers getting locked in. But with Martin Truex Jr. 7 out, he's going to have to come I don't think he has to rely on a win, but a good finish. A good finish, and for someone who is kind of just above that cut line, being a Kevin Harvick, being a Christopher Bell, being a Logano, you know? Yeah. So I feel like his best bet is to have
Harvick or Logano have a bad day, and personally, I don't want to see that. I want to, like we talked about earlier, I want to see Kevin Harvick go off on a good note for the end of this year.
Right.
But yeah, it is kind of a bit of a kind of up in the air, a bit of a toss up how it will eventually play out. But yeah, the playoff bubble is very much there. They went back green on lap 9 with Bell leading, Larson in second, but exiting turn 2, Larson got the run on the high side like we saw with Christian Eckes on Friday night. Took the lead coming out of turn 2. Caution came back out on lap 64-ish after Austin Dillon spun exiting turn 2. While he was busy crashing, Alex Bowman did the exact same thing.
Yep.
And spun exiting turn 2. No contact was made between the two drivers, but they spun in very similar parts. We went back green with Kyle Larson winning stage 1. Went back green with stage 2 with Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace on the front row. But while running in second, my pick for the race, who I don't know if I said he was my pick. I'm not 100% sure if I did say that or not.
You definitely said it was your pick.
Okay, I might have said he was my pick, but I do remember saying that this was his best chance at winning the race.
Correct.
So at advancing to the next round. So, yeah, it very much. So yeah, he blew a tire. He hit the wall. Not a good way for his day to end.
Now he's below the cut line by 19 points. He's going to have a solid point day going into the next. So what happened next?
Back green on lap 113 with Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, teammates leading the field to green. And we saw some action between them later in the race. They've been two who've been really butting heads over the past few years. And I saw something today. It was not from an official source. I want to make this very clear when I say this. This was not an official source. This wasn't even classified as a rumor yet.
I know what I saw this too. Go ahead. I know exactly what you're going to say, but I saw this too. I don't think it's true, but
I don't think so either. But if it does, it'll stir the pot a lot. It will. This is, and I want to make this very clear before I say this. This is below rumor level. All right? This isn't even maybe. All right? This is
trolling.
This is leaning more to the sides of trolling than to the possibility of being true, but
yeah.
Chase Elliott essentially gave Rick Hendrick an ultimatum. Larson or me. Now that this is the first time I've said that out loud, and now that I did say that out loud, I don't think so. I've read the comments on there, and a lot of it was just, there was one person who said all this guy does is spread false information. And so I don't know. What I said could completely not be true at all. I just want to make that very clear that the source is not a very credible source.
Yeah,
for that.
We did see, but not saying this is any way correlated, but we did see some contact between them on pit road, exiting after one of the stops, miscommunication from both teams. I don't think Chase Elliott would do that. He has no right to do that. He missed, almost, I guess, what was that, 7 races? Like what else do you want? You have Hendrick, which is the team to beat, I believe, right now.
Hendrick is the powerhouse in NASCAR. They have been for years.
I mean, if this is true, let's entertain this for a second. You're saying that you want Rick Hendrick, the most successful car owner in NASCAR history, to decide between two previous champions who want to win, who can prove they can win, who now adds William Byron to that list of people who could potentially win, who has Alex Bowman as a great driver. You want him to say it's basically me or nothing? I mean, me or Kyle Larson? Why would you do that? That seems to be like you're just asking for trouble when there doesn't need to be because of what gain. You missed 7 races. It's not like you've been battling. It's not like you've been fighting for a championship. you've been hurt this season. I just think if he actually said that, and now he's coming out of this injury and saying, oh, it's either me or Larson, I think Rick Hendrick's going to be like, you're you're funny. I mean, that's just like, what? For what gain? I mean, let's say that happens. Let's say Chase Elliott goes to the curb. Because what do you think? Would Rick Hendrick pick Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott? I would pick Kyle Larson, 100%. I would, personally, but,
I feel like I have to kind of say the same thing, and I'm going to make a few people back home mad when I say that, but and the only reason I would say that is because Kyle Larson shows more consistent results. I feel like on the win scale, they both have one championship. On the win scale, they're kind of even. Some years it's a bit more of a Chase Elliott year. Some years it's a bit more of a Kyle Larson year.
Yep.
But I feel like I feel like I would have to go with Kyle Larson. And once again, and that's all I want to entertain this, because I would not be surprised at all if this is untrue. If Kyle sorry, I think I just had a light go out or something, but with I don't think Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott would do that, because there's been multiple times we saw it 2 years ago with Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott working together to help Kyle Larson win the race. All right, Chase Elliott was blocking Kevin Harvick to help Kyle Larson. So
at Bristol,
at this race that we are coming to this next weekend, and I feel like at this point, if I was Alex Bowman or Chase Elliott, I would be trying to help do whatever it took to make sure that Kyle Larson or Alex or William Byron win the championship.
Sure.
All right.
I agree.
And it's because you're not in the playoffs. You don't have a shot to win the championship. Unfortunately, which, as much as I would love to see all the Hendrick cars in there, it happens. We had Alex Bowman out for a race. We had Chase Elliott out for a lot of races.
7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good bit, but yeah, I feel like Team Hendrick needs to be working as a team right now. Okay,
this could just derail their playoffs. If
Alex
some
Bowman
drama started. Yeah,
exactly. You've got Alex Bowman doing whatever he wants. You've got Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson fighting with each other. And you got William Byron, who this is his first time. This is his first time with where people are looking at him as a championship contender. All right, and standing behind him, he's going up against Kyle Larson, who has championship winning experience, has that, and Chase Elliott, who should be helping him. Yes, Kyle Larson wants to win. All right, you have Rick Hendrick, who is, like you said, the most successful team owner in NASCAR history. You have Chad Canals, a 7-time NASCAR winning crew chief.
Yep.
So I feel like that. Are we about to see a war within Hendrick Motorsports? All right, like we've seen, say, in 2016 in Formula One with Mercedes, where it was an all-out war. All right, the Silver War, as they called it. Okay, are we about to see a war? I would say that Rick Hendrick is. I feel like Rick Hendrick is the type of guy that he would stop that before it got to that point.
He would, because he knows what to do. He's been around long enough. I mean, he's probably dealt with this in smaller scales. Think about who he had on board back, not even 10 years ago. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Mark Martin. I mean, that is a Hall of Fame crew.
That is.
On the team. And so he's dealt with this before. Not saying that Kyle Larson, Elliott, Byron, and or Bowman are at that caliber, but, because obviously, they have 11 championships between Gordon, and I don't know how many championships Mark Martin has or anything like that. But still, I think it's still, if there was an incident, it was going to be resolved by Rick Hendrick. I don't think he'll ever let it escalate to that point. But
me neither.
Yeah.
But going on with the rest of the race, John.
Yeah, let's go on with the rest of the race. So we saw Brad Kay get his stage win, his first of the year here. I believe his first of the year at Kansas, which is a reason why I think he's going to do very well at Bristol. Followed by Denny Hamlin in second, Kyle Larson in third, Harvick, Reddick, Jones, Blaney, Logano, Buescher, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 10 in stage 2. And then at the end of the race, you saw a battle between essentially 2 tire stops versus 4 tire stops. And you saw the 99 of Daniel Suarez take no tires. And you saw multiple other cars take 2, multiple other cars take 4. And that was kind of the game because they had some pit strategy during the middle of stage 1 and 2 that affected the end of the race within how many sets of tires they had. And what we saw was what I thought was going to be the battle to the end. I mean, we thought it was going to be a Toyota winning the race. A Toyota definitely did win. You saw Denny Hamlin. He's always a contestant here. He's always going to be running up front. And we saw what I thought was going to be the best car to win was Tyler Reddick at the end, pull a great move on the outside. And this race is turning into, and this is where I kind of want to direct the conversation, this Kansas race, this track has produced fantastic racing across all 3 series. Now, I've seen other creators in the space talk about this. Is Kansas becoming one of the most exciting tracks on the circuit? I am in favor of that because of the multiple lanes. I'm in favor of that because of how vital it is to keep your tires underneath you, as well as the strategy element. And I just think it produces good racing. I mean, you have the high line that slings you out of every corner. You can go on the apron, which Reddick made a 3-wide move to get underneath Hamlin, and I believe at the time it was Joey Logano, to then win the race. You know, this track produces an incredible race. I think with the altercation of a schedule maybe next year, I think they can move Kansas to a cutoff race because, I mean, obviously they have to flip-flop Bristol, which they're not going to remove Bristol Saturday night cutoff race. But
that's Saturday night? It is?
It's Saturday night.
Oh, interesting.
So ARCA and trucks are Thursday. Okay. Xfinity's Friday.
Trucks are Thursday?
Yes.
So everything's just getting pushed back a day.
Yep. Let me double check this. Unless I'm completely wrong, and I am going to be really adjusting my schedule if that's the case. Trucks are Thursday, September 14th at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time. The UNOH 200 presented by Ohio Logistics. There you go. So, I mean, it's going to be a good race. And kind of going back to the conversation of where we are standing in the point standings, you saw Tyler Reddick pull a win. You have to put on your UNOH ad. There you go. Now you're repping the right. Now you're repping the right.
Now I'm repping the right school. Here we go.
There you go. And so you saw what we expected to see. Toyota win the race. It was kind of a gimme there, but you saw some good things with RFK. You have Brad Kay finishing in 9th. You had him win his first stage of the year. And Eric Jones. I mean, Eric Jones is securing his spot for that 43 car. Obviously, you mentioned John Hunter Nemechek. You don't know where that number is going to be. I believe he signed with the 42 team, so Noah Gregson's old car. So Eric Jones, I mean, strong run at Darlington, 3rd place finish at Kansas. He's been somewhat decent at Bristol. So, that's where we are kind of going into this race. What, kind of flipping this over to your side, what did you think about Reddick winning the race? Do you think he can propel himself to win a championship? With now, you said that was your guy. That was your guy that was going to take place of, did you say Martin Truex Jr. or did you say Denny Hamlin? Because you said Byron Larson, you said Hamlin, you said Reddick, right?
I think so last week, yeah. And I feel like that last spot for me is going to constantly be changing because, I don't know, because like I'm looking at it right now and, we got Larson and Reddick 1-2 in the points right now with 1 win. We have Denny Hamlin, which he's going to have a pretty bad day for him not to be able to advance to the next round. We got William Byron, who is kind of in the same boat, going to have a bad day, both of which are over 40 points above the cut line. Brad Keselowski obviously doesn't want a horrible day, but he's got a little bit more wiggle room. He's got a little bit less wiggle room than I would say Byron and Hamlin does.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney, I feel like Kyle Busch, maybe you could pull something off, but I mean, it is
Not a bad pick.
Yeah, but I feel like going back to Kansas, it's yes, I love Kansas. I really want them to bring the lights back on there, all right? Because we see a lot of tracks. There's a lot of other tracks that are like Kansas, all right? We've got
Sure.
Michigan. We've got, what are some of the other ones? Nashville a little bit. Nashville's a little smaller. And it's obviously, it's concrete. Las Vegas, there's a lot of tracks that are like that don't produce good racing.
Yeah.
All right?
Agreed.
Kansas produces amazing racing every time we go there.
Every time.
It's always
Every
a
time.
show, and I love it, all right? And I would love to see it as a cutoff race. Looking at the schedule, hold on, wrong button. No, actually, no. Looking at the schedule,
Texas?
I was thinking more of the cutoff race. Yes, Texas, maybe. If they took Texas out of the round of 12, put that as the second race of the round of 16, so we can, in my personal opinion, if we can't get rid of Texas, put it the second race on the schedule so we can just get it over and done with.
Yeah.
Every year, all right. Then at swap. Make Talladega and Charlotte, move those 1 week forward. So Talladega opens the round of 12. Charlotte is the second race on the round of 12. Maybe have Kansas end now.
I agree.
And that being said,
go ahead.
I would rather have this as a change. I would rather have Talladega and Bristol switch rather than Texas and Kansas.
That makes sense. I could see
Because
that.
if you look at the schedule, for the cutoff race, we would have, for the round of 16, if we did that, we would have a super speedway of a cutoff at the first round of the cutoff race. We'd have a road course for the cutoff race for the round of 12, a short track for the round of 8, and an intermediate track for the championship.
Yeah, and right now we have two short
good.
tracks. Yeah, right now we have two short tracks with Martinsville and Bristol.
Cutoffs, yeah.
Which are great. I mean, it's
both
purely
great.
by design. It's purely by design. But I agree with that. I think that's a good point. And let's talk about really quick one specific cutoff race. Not sure if you saw this news, but this happened today as well. You're not going to be happy about this.
Oh no.
You're not going to be happy at all. You may have seen this.
I don't
NASCAR.
think I have.
NASCAR is going to be.
I was the one who put it in the notes. Look at the notes. I put it in the notes. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's in the notes.
It will have stage breaks.
Yes. NASCAR Charlotte will have stage breaks.
You said Wednesday Charlotte rival will not have stage breaks.
I did. Oh. Well, I meant to say it will have stage breaks. My bad. I was sitting in class as well as when I saw that.
I believe all future road courses will as well. If I'm not mistaken, by NASCAR's memo, quote unquote memo. What am I talking about? Not memo. Their release. NASCAR officials bring back stage breaks for Charlotte Road Course race. NASCAR competition officials announced procedural changes Tuesday for the last remaining road course on the 2023 schedule, reinstating caution periods at the end of each stage. Elton Sawyer, NASCAR Senior VP of Competition, revealed that the format shifted Tuesday during his regular weekend appearance on SiriusXM. The changes are going set for the Bank of America Rebel 400. So it says the move was made in collaboration with teams and fan feedback, with Sawyer saying that the intermissions, quote unquote, took an element of strategy away from the event.
Obviously, he doesn't listen to this freaking podcast.
So, yeah. Also said, Sawyer said the restart zone for the Charlotte Roval will be moved to the final chicane before the start-finish line. That's a death wish. Why would you do that? That is a death wish. You're going to... Oh, he left. Chad just broke this computer. Oh, no. He broke it. Chad just broke it. Well, I'm texting him right now. So Chad just left, folks, for a period of time. We'll see. He's back. You broke it.
I broke it. My bad.
I literally, as soon as you said, I just died laughing, and you said you broke it. Well, that's what just happened to Chad's computer is what's going to happen to every single car as they go into the chicane before they get to the start-finish line at the Roval.
Oh, my God.
So it says...
Do you know what's really exciting?
What?
I'm going to be there for this race.
Oh, you're in for a wreck-filled race.
A wreck fest, all right? It's going to be like Portland this week with... Or not Portland. It's going to be like Laguna Seca with IndyCar this week. It's going to be a caution fest, all right? I mean, like...
It's I mean
there's only one thing I would get by. I would be okay with stage breaks on road courses, and it's if they make them the stage break period shorter. All right.
Yeah.
Because there's no actual incident on the track. We don't need the same amount of caution laps. And look, here's what we got to do. Okay. Yellow flag comes out. Next time the cars come around, pit lane opens. Let everyone who's on the lead lap come in. All right. Next lap, let everyone who's not on the lead lap come in. After that, 1 to green. All right, road courses are long enough to where they can catch back up.
Yep.
All right,
I don't know. I mean, it says basically drivers apparently noted the physical demands of long green flag stints without brakes. Welcome to NASCAR before, 5 years ago when they had stage breaks? I don't want to say give me a break, but I mean... With today's equipment,
which drivers were staying that?
I can't remember specifically.
Because I guarantee you, it's not Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch. All right, the guys who have been in this sport long enough to have that, physical. I mean, it's.
I get it, but also I don't get it because. I don't even understand. I mean,
NASCAR is a form of endurance racing. That is the category that it falls under. It is the world's most popular endurance racing series. All right.
Also, really quick.
More. We got more. Careful what you say, because I might break my computer monitor.
In the previous Roval events, the initial start and restarts fired off from a portion of the oval tracks that's used as a runoff of all other laps. The final, the restart zone for the Charlotte Road Course will be moved to the final chicane before the start-finish line. So I wanted to clarify that because I know that was a level of, I was a little confused because I was like, okay, wait, I do remember them having you would start and then you would go down into one. I mean, I guess it's one hand or the other. Let's think about this. You either going to have a restart zone at a chicane or a restart zone at a hard left-hand corner where we've seen drivers just barrel into the tires.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's one hand versus the other. Do I think it's going to produce chaos? Yeah. I mean, people. I mean,
where within the chicane is this going to happen? Is my question.
It says it doesn't
just
say
says the chicane.
The road, it'll be moved to the final chicane before the start-finish line. There is no specific, unless I watch this video here, which may show me something, which it might. I'll let it play while we're talking. But it doesn't say specifically in the article on where it's going to be. Obviously, it's going to have to be before they turn, right?
That or right before or right after.
Well, it says... will be moved to the final chicane before the start-finish line. I can't imagine they would have a restart zone in a chicane. You know what I'm saying? You know how
is
it
the
goes.
whole is the whole chicane going to be the restart? That's in a way it's kind of exciting because it's going to be interesting to see the way that plays out. But I'm not too happy with stage breaks because I've never really been a fan of, I guess, artificial cautions, and as much as I kind of enjoy the playoffs, I do kind of enjoy the playoffs a bit. It already kind of makes it a little bit confusing for new NASCAR fans.
Oh yeah, it does. They're like, why are they stopping in the middle? What's this? Yeah, I agree.
No, the playoffs, and then
yes,
the playoffs, and then with stage breaks and stage points, that makes it more confusing.
Well, they're just trying to produce TV ratings. I mean,
they are, and with NASCAR, it really kind of comes in waves, all right? It comes in waves. because we really see him hype up. We see a bit of a rise around Crown Jewel events. I've been talking about it for the past few weeks. Coca-Cola 600, Southern 500, Daytona 500. Big races like that. We
the
see
Brickyard coming back next year.
The Brickyard, please come back next year. We see it go up.
Yeah.
And then, but once we have those, what I kind of call the drought, where, we kind of have, I don't want to say the boring races, but the races that aren't expected to produce much excitement, like a Darlington, like a 600-mile race, like a 500-mile race on a super speedway, okay? So there's that little dead period, I want to say in the summer, where we kind of get that, but...
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense. Boom.
It is interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go into, I think, one of the last things we always talk about every week, Bristol predictions. I think we should do winner. I think we just stick with that. And then who's still our championship for? Who's championship for? So starting with the Bristol race, who do you think is going to take home the checkered flag here in Bristol on Saturday night under the lights? Cutoff race, beating and banging. I have a few drivers in mind.
I mean, I'm really looking at it right now. I'm going to say Brad Keselowski.
Good pick.
I am going to say Brad Keselowski. Because, and it is a good pick because we've seen them perform well there. And that's really kind of the big reason I'm suggesting that. Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with as for the winner. For Brad K. I'm going to go Brad K. You know what? I was going to do something dumb, but yeah. I was going to say either Brad K or Chris Buescher, but I'm going to stick with Brad K, but if either one of those two win, the other one is going to be close behind. At least top 10. Gotcha.
Okay, so let's flip the script now before we get to who we think our final four is going to be. Who are going to be the drivers eliminated? This is the elimination weekend.
I was fixing to ask you that.
So let's go with your thoughts first.
I think
who
the bottom
your 4 drivers. Who are your bottom 4?
I think the bottom 2 are going to stay the exact same way they are with Kevin Harvick or with Michael McDowell and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think it's going to stay that exact same way. I'm going to say Bubba Wallace stays down there too. Mm-hmm. Bubba Wallace and yes, Martin Truex Jr. doesn't have good stats at Bristol, but we've also seen him time and time again, be there in must-win situations. He's got a Joe Gibbs car. He's not fight. He's it's not like he's in a Front Row Motorsports or a JTG Dowdy Racing car where they're still fighting to make their name. It's not like a 2311 car where they've got a shoe in the door, but they still have a lot to do. It's not like that.
Right.
He's a championship winning driver. I don't.
Tough pick. Who is going to be the last driver, or I guess the first driver out of that list out? I mean, you got McDowell, you got Stenhouse, you got Wallace.
I don't want to say this. I really don't want to say
Don't
this.
do it. Don't do it.
My dad won't forgive me if I do. But Kevin Harvick.
No.
I love Kevin Harvick, but he got the win there 2 years ago, and he's shown consistency, but I don't. It's got to be either him or Truex, in my opinion, or Logano. I mean,
Got to make a decision. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Logano.
Okay, wow.
Logano. I'm going to say Logano. I'm going to say last year's champion. He's had a little bit of a drought year. I'm going to say that I'm going to say Logano because I think Harvick's going to have a good run. I do think Harvick's going to have a good run. I think Truex is going to, that fire's going to be lit underneath him. He's going to be, because he's been in this situation before and he's gotten out of it.
Right.
He's going to do it again. And I feel like Logano, he's just, yeah, I just feel like it's Logano. I feel like if you're Christopher Bell, you're kind of okay. If you're Chris Buescher, you're eh. I feel like Kyle Busch and up are the guys who are really safe here. Anyone from Chastain to Harvick has a chance of not getting it. So yeah, that has the potential to be really interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to flip the question on to you now. Who do you think's winning Saturday night at Bristol? And who's your 4 going to be eliminated?
So I'm going to go off of some numbers here because I really like statistics. So when it comes to specifically, let me pull them up because I just lost them. When it comes to statistics here at Bristol, I look at who's been consistently finishing up near the front. One driver that you can't argue with is Kyle Larson. Average finish of 3rd in the last 2 races, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and a win. So it's hard to argue that. Obviously, that's including dirt. But when I look at specifically the drivers who need a win and who have consistently been finishing up front, my driver this week, I think it's actually going to be Harvick. I think Harvick can get it done.
Really? Okay.
He needs a win. He's on that bubble. I think he makes it into the next round. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't care if he doesn't even have to win. Harvick's going to make it into the next round. Mm-hmm. I think Harvick has a very good chance of winning. I do agree with Keselowski. I think it's going to be a battle between, outside of the Hendrick guys, which Chase Elliott's very strong here. So is William Byron. He finished, I really believe in Harvick this weekend. I really do. I think that Brad K, I put Brad K on that same level. If I had to go, right now with my gut instinct, it tells me to go with Brad K a little bit more than Harvick. Okay. But I'm still going to ride the Harvick train. I think Harvick wins this weekend at Bristol. He needs the win. He makes it in. My last 4 out, though, McDowell, Stenhouse, Wallace, and Logano. Logano's been terrible. Let's look at some specific stats here. Logano in the last 4 races here has an average finish of 17th and a half, no top 5s, no top 10s. If you look at Mr. Martin Truex Jr., Mr. Truex Jr. has, I believe, 1 top 10. Yep, 1 top 10, but an average finish of 21st. That's not good. But I think he does better than Joey Logano. I think he has a little bit more of an edge this year. And I think with that being said, that's going to move Harvick up, obviously. That's going to move Logano down. I think Truex finishes ahead of Logano, at least by 5 spots, and Logano gets knocked out. So McDowell, Stenhouse, Wallace, and Logano are going to be going home at the end of Bristol.
That's a safe pick. That's in my opinion, that's a bit of a safe bet. Harvick, I gotta agree with you on that. I do think he's gonna make it out of the next round. Now that I've really kind of thought about it, I do think he'll make it to the next round. But I really think, I'm on the same boat with you.
Unless there's something wild that happens where Chastain doors somebody, which is probably going to happen either way. But, I agree. So I guess now we have to talk about who's the final 4.
All right, yeah. So,
what do you got?
Honestly, I'm going to stick with, what I had last week in the top 4 that we've got right now.
Interesting.
All right. Larson, Reddick, Hamlin, and Byron. All right. I still think that's going to be good. And then I think however, I think it's going to come down to Hamlin, Larson, or Byron because they've got that final round experience, Yeah.
Yep.
Larson and Hamlin a bit more than Byron, and then Byron a bit more than Reddick. But, I feel like,
I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be Hamlin for sure. I think it's going to be Byron. I really like Larson a lot. I'm going to stick with Buescher.
Really?
I know he's near the back end of this.
He's almost on the bubble. If he has a really bad day, he could be that 13th spot.
He could be. But let's think about the schedule a little bit. You have Martinsville. RFK's been good at short tracks. You have, well, I guess let's do this in order. You have Talladega. RFK has been good at super speedways. You have road courses. RFK has been good at road courses, at least consistent. They don't need to win. They just need to be consistent. And then you go into, you have Martinsville in there as well, which if Buescher can make it to Martinsville and still be in there, I think Buescher could possibly win Martinsville and lock himself into the championship 4. Because when you look at the other 2 races on the particular calendar, I don't have it up right now, but I believe it is. What are the other 2 races?
It goes. I got it right here. It goes. So we got Texas, Talladega, Charlotte, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix.
Yeah, so those first 2 races I think suit Larson, Hamlin, and Byron fairly well. So okay. I think any of those could be locks. But I think Martinsville for Buescher, that is his chance. If he can make it to there, he could lock himself in and flex on everybody and potentially win a championship for RFK. So we'll see. Wild card pick for this weekend, Eric Jones wins. Throwing it out there right now.
All right. Well, in that case, hold on. Let me get back here. Wild card. If we're doing a wild card pick, you know what? Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell's gonna win, and he's gonna advance to the next round. That's my wild card pick.
He's gonna have to have a lot of luck or a lot of drivers wreck.
Yes.
But there you go. So. Chad, I think that wraps up episode number 6. So yeah. I'll be on my way to Bristol in 2 days, and I head out
to Watkins Glen on Thursday with my roommates. So if you guys are in the Watkins Glen area or the Bristol area, make sure you pay attention to the Flag to Flag podcast on Instagram. I know you'll be posting on there, John. I'm gonna try and post a bit. You're gonna be more of a fan, and I'm gonna be more of a crew member where we're going. But
true.
It'll be fun no matter what. But yeah, definitely look out for us. Please come up and say hey. We love to meet some of y'all. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up. So if you have any topics you want us to touch on, anybody that you want us to speak about, any silly season topics as we go forward, let us know. If you want to have your short track featured on the podcast, also make sure to reach out to us at flagtoflag10@gmail.com. And make sure to reach us out and follow us on any social media channels, flag_podcast on Instagram and on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. It is Flag to Flag Podcast. So from John and Chad, we've reached the Checkered Flag, episode 6. We will see you next week.